Hello, boys and girls. Doing another art lesson today with Mrs. Willoughby. Today, still talking a little bit about lines. Today, we're going to talk about how you can actually use lines to create an optical illusion. It's a type of art called op art. We're going to be doing a pretty simple one today. If you're one of my sixth graders, you know we did some op art at the beginning of the year. But I want to do something that's pretty easy that everyone can do. The one thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to draw a shape on your paper. It could be any shape, a circle, a coffee cup, a jar, some sort of three-dimensional shape. I am just going to do my arm today. So that's pretty easy for everybody to do, right? Because we can just trace it. So I'm going to start with my paper. I'm going to place my arm there on the paper, and I'm just going to use a pencil to then trace around my hand the best that I can. I know I might have to go back in and do some erasing and fix a couple of lines, but just trying to keep that pencil touching up against my hand and my arm, and I'm going to go all the way to the bottom of the paper. So I've got my arm right there. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to want to do is we are going to draw some straight lines across the paper. I am going to use a ruler to do this. If you don't have a ruler, you can even use another piece of paper. And if you just fold it in half, then this folded side becomes a little more rigid, and you can actually use that to draw your straight lines with. So I want my lines to go straight across the paper. I'm going to place my ruler down so it's straight. I'm not going to draw the lines across my hand. I want to leave that space open. So I've got my first line there. If you wanted to be super precise about this, you could measure down the paper to make sure you were making equally spaced lines each time. I'm just kind of using the sides of my paper as a guide and lining it up so it's at a 90-degree angle with the side of the paper. So you can see I'm just going to draw these lines all the way up. So I hope you guys have been watching some of these videos, and please let me know if there's an art project you would like for me to do. I can do that. So you can email me at willoughbyk@psarrows.com. It's WILLOUGHBY@psarrows.com. You can also email me. Let me know if you are having a hard time getting a hold of art supplies. You know, I feel like this is a good way to pass some time while we're, you know, stuck at home and not going anywhere. Art for me helps calm me down too when I'm, you know, if I'm worried or anxious, or maybe just if you're just aggravated with your little brother and your little sister because you've been stuck in the house with them so long. This is a way you can kind of get away from everybody and just chill out. And you know, parents, I know some of these activities you might have to help your kids with a little bit, especially the younger kids. Just remember, when we're doing art, we're not going for perfection per se. We are just, you know, practicing and being creative. You know, you don't have to do things exactly the way someone else does. You know, you use your creativity. All right. So this is where we're going to now add this three-dimensional pop to our hand. Right now it's just a flat hand on a piece of paper. We want it to look like it has form. So a three-dimensional shape has form. I'm going to show you my lines again. So you can see I did not draw any lines through the hand. I'm going to see if I can... Okay, there we go. Now, I am going to now draw lines across the hand, but I don't want them to be the straight lines that I used on the rest of the paper. This is what's going to give us that illusion of form. So I'm going to start down here at this line, and I'm going to draw a line, but I want to draw a curved line. See that? You can already see that starting to give some form to that two-dimensional shape that we drew. So I am going to, with every line, I'm just going to mimic that curved line. And you want to make sure that they meet up on both sides to the straight lines. That's what helps give us that illusion. Okay, so just drawing those curved lines. I want them to meet up right where that straight line ended. Now, it is going to get a little more tricky when you get to the fingers. You still want to draw the line like it's going to curve the whole way, because you want it to maintain that shape. Okay, that one was a little tricky. All right, so that didn't quite match up the way I wanted it to. I'm going to erase that line. It's kind of a weird angle. There we go. And little tricky there, a little tricky. I think on this top part, yeah, I think on this top part I'm actually going to do the fingers separately. Sorry about that. That way each finger, there we go, has that three-dimensional characteristic. And I feel like I need another line right here. So, you know, we always plan out our art before we do it, but it is also perfectly fine if you need to change the direction once you get started. All right, there we go. Sorry, I found a spot that was missing a line, and I think that's what is kind of messing these fingers up. One more. Sorry, guys. I must have drawn my hand differently when I did my practice one because I didn't have this trouble with it. Okay. Oh, missed one. All right, so you can see that even in black and white, that hand is now kind of popping up there. Now we're going to add some color. So I would suggest using contrasting colors. So what that means is on the color wheel, they are opposite of each other. So they are colors that when you put them together, they really stand out against each other. So I think I'm going to do purple and yellow. Those are two contrasting colors. And then I'm going to do green and red. Okay, so two colors for the background, two colors for the hand. So I think I'm going to use the red and the green on the hand. So I'm going to start with red. You can do this with crayons, colored pencils. Doesn't really matter what you use to color it in. You could even, if you only have a pencil, you could even shade part of it and not shade the other part. And that would help give you even more contrast to make that hand really pop out. So I'm going to do red, and I'm just going to alternate red and green. So when I color with markers, I like to outline. And then I like to try to do straight strokes down. This kind of reminds me of the book Stripes, which I wanted to, maybe I'll see if I can get that from my classroom. I had thought about reading that to go along with this, but I just didn't have it at home. But if you look it up on YouTube, I'm sure you can see a video of someone reading it. I will be reading a book later today. Today is Thursday, the 26th of March, and I will be reading a video later today on the Camden Primary Facebook page at 1 o'clock. All right, so you can see how this is going, right? We're just coloring this in. All right. So I'll do the rest of the hand that same way. And then the outside, again, I chose these contrasting colors. I'm going to do the yellow and the purple. The yellow you have to be careful with. I maybe should have started with that one, because if you touch the yellow to another color, it's going to kind of bleed that color into the yellow part that you're coloring. And I'm just doing these straight lines across, outline. You know, and you don't have to sit down and do all of this project at one time. You know, artists often work on projects for an extended period of time, and they stop, they go back to it, they stop, they go back to it. That's totally normal. Taking those straight lines across, that helps the markers seem to work better too. If I just color back and forth, I don't know if I'm just wasting color, but it seems like the markers act like they're drying out, even though I know they shouldn't be. But by using those wide strokes, trying to fill in all the white areas. And you can see that that is helping our hand come to life. So I actually have one that I did. It is different colors, just to give you another option. So this was one that I did as a practice before this lesson. You can see I did the lines more diagonal that time. The only thing that matters is that these lines are lining up with the straight lines. You want your curved lines and your straight lines to line up. That's what helps give you that illusion that it's kind of popping out of the paper. So I hope you guys enjoy this lesson, and and I'm trying to again pick things that anybody can work on, hoping it's going to get nice out and that we can go outside and do some drawing. But again, I am totally open to suggestions. I will post another video tomorrow, Friday. We are on spring break next week, but I will try to still maybe do a couple of videos over spring break, because I know for most of us, spring break isn't going to be much different from the last 2 weeks. So I miss all you guys. Stop by the Camden Primary page at 1 o'clock today to hear me reading a story. I'll see you later.